Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be watching from. My name is CJ. This is the CJ Curry Show. It's presented by PrizePicks. Guys, PrizePicks is making daily fantasy sports easy. All you do is pick the overs and unders on your favorite superstars, your favorite athletes. 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. You can win up to 10 times your money in one day. And right now, you get a 100% instant deposit match on your first deposit all the way up to $100. So they're going to go dollar for dollar, matching every one of those dollars you put in up to $100. If you don't play on PrizePicks yet, use promo code Curry to take advantage of that 100% instant deposit match. I've left a link down in the description below. There's also links for Patreon if you want to help support the show, if you want to be a part of a community of PrizePicks players. Guys, I've started a community. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. Appreciate everybody who is supporting. Just $20 a month. You can win that in one night. $10 two-pick power play. Patreon's paid for itself. So Patreon link down in the description below. Appreciate all the patrons who are joining me for today's live stream show. On top of that, we got a free Discord. Discord is armed with things like bots to help you with your research. It's armed with all the late breaking news for the NBA, NFL, NHL, whatever sport you are into. We've got it all set up for you guys, and you can chat with other like-minded individuals in there as well. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Appreciate you guys. How was your weekend, everyone? Let me know in the chat. Appreciate all of you guys for being here. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers. I appreciate everybody who's been along for this journey, for this ride. I want to add more of you. I want to get this message out, these streams out to more folks out there to help you improve your player prop research. And I can only do that if you guys continue to subscribe, like, share this link, share this show with as many people, friends, family as possible. All right, gang. Let's check in with the chat. We got Roy in the building. Roy throwing up the dab emojis. Can I hit a dab here on the stream? Bam. Ah, yeah, the dab's still alive. I keep it alive just for corny moments like that. Mr. Ruiz is in the building. He says, good morning. Welcome to Money Making Monday. Hit that like button. Had a great weekend. Love to hear that. Yeah, we went like 8-1 yesterday on QB fantasy score props on PrizePicks. QB fantasy score for NFL, guys. Don't sleep on it. It's been hitting pretty damn high. Chris Raptor says, let's freaking go. Appreciate you being here, Chris. No limits in the building. Shout out to my No Limit soldiers out there. We got any No Limit fans, Master P fans out there? Make them say, He says, let's start the week off right. Good luck to everyone. Let's cash. Ronald's Green with the what's up. What's up back at you, big dog. Wesley, longtime supporter. What's up, boss man? What's up to you, my friend? Thanks for being here. Everyday Fantasy, a.k.a. Don P. If you're in our Discord streets, you know Don P111 does his thing. He says, what it do, gang? Money Making Monday is in full go mode. Big ups to the chef and Patreon, my family. Hey, you flex, brother. I gotta flex back. Mike from the Forest says, time to start the week the right way. Love the energy. Bearded Gators here. He says, what's up? Kyle, good morning to you. J.C. Rankin or J. Crankin? I never know how to say your name. He said, what's up? What's up? Go Birds. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles play tonight. We will continue our path to the Super Bowl against the Washington Commanders. Paulius, haven't been here in a while. Let's see, because what's cooking for tonight? I don't know what you said there, but what's up, Paulius? Neville's in the building. Wagwan CJ, love that. Joseph Thomas says, hey, CJ, let's cash today. Made $2,000 this weekend. Need to keep this streak. And always, your Patreon has been a game changer. Appreciate you, JT. Thank you for the support. I hate anxiety. OG over points. Well, hold your horses, all right? If you have props, picks that you have questions on, I'll be happy to help you research them. Just hold them till the end. We'll do a little quick Q&A portion toward the end of the stream, and we'll talk about your favorite picks. Rocket Sauce says, if you join CJ's Patreon, it is a 10x move. Do it. You won't be sorry. Hashtag Winner Circle. Love to hear that. Q6. Good morning. Let's make this money. Fear Shaolin. Money Moves Monday. I like the Money Moves Monday, too. I'm Day said, this is my first stream. Well, welcome. Hopefully you've already subscribed and you've liked because I'm giving away a free entry every single time I go live here on YouTube. So it's a risk-free 2-pick on PrizePicks. If you get both of those picks right, you win $100. Guys, all you have to do is be subscribed. Make sure you like today's show. And then once the replay goes up on YouTube, go to the comment section, leave a comment with your favorite pick of the day. I will randomly choose one of you commenters and you will win a free entry to score $100 on PrizePicks. It's that easy. It's that easy. All right, gang. Let's go ahead and get into business here. We got a pretty decent sized NBA slate, medium sized slate. I want to play some Poeltl before we get started. We got two guys on our thumbnail today. We got Trae Young. We got DeJounte Murray. Let's go with DeJounte Murray as our first guess on Poeltl. If you don't know what Poeltl is, guys, it's based on Wordle. All right. Instead of a word guessing game, this is a NBA mystery player guessing game. So we're going to start the guess off here with DeJounte Murray. We're trying to figure out who today's mystery player is. What we have learned by guessing DeJounte Murray is that it is not DeJounte Murray. This player does not play for the Atlanta Hawks, but we did get some matches in there. Exact match on the conference, being an Eastern Conference player, and an exact match on the division, in the Southeastern Division. However, this player is not a guard. He is not 6'5". He's going to be a taller guy, it looks like. Younger than 26 years old, DeJounte, 26. We're looking for a player that's younger than 26, and the jersey number is going to have to be a number that is higher than the number 5. What are we thinking, gang? Southeastern team, not the Atlanta Hawks. Could it be somebody from my Orlando Magic? I can think of one player, and this player happened to have a little bit of beef with DeJounte Murray over the summer. These two guys were playing in one of these pickup rec leagues or whatever, and they kind of started chirping at each other back and forth. DeJounte Murray and, maybe some of you know, maybe you kept up with the news, Paolo Banchero. That's right, the number 1 draft pick. Got into a little beef with DeJounte Murray in one of these summer leagues, right? One of these pickup game type leagues. Let's see if it's Paolo Banchero, my guy, my front runner for the Rookie of the Year. Orlando does play tonight. We'll talk about that game in just a moment. What we have learned now, guessing Paolo Banchero, is that, for one, it's not Paolo Banchero. This player does play for the Orlando Magic, though. I'm very familiar with the Orlando Magic. We should be able to get this pretty easily here. But this player is not a forward. He's taller than 6'10". He's older than 20, but younger than 26. So it's going to be somebody who's been in the league for a few years, right? Not a rookie, not a second-year player. Probably somebody who's like a 4th, 5th-year player. Jersey number is going to be one that's above 5. So who could it be? Bobo? I don't mind Bobo. I don't mind Wendell Carter Jr. either. Wendell, however, is 6'10". So we don't think it's Wendell Carter Jr. I don't think it's Wendell Carter Jr. It's going to be somebody who plays maybe like the center position more than the forward position. Now, Bobo's one of those interesting players. He's kind of a unicorn, right? He kind of fits in a number of different roles. He could be a forward. He could be a center. All right, we got a little bit closer with Bobo. It's not Bobo, though. Shout out to the Bobo guest, though. It got us a lot closer. This player is a center/forward. We know it's not a forward, so it's got to be somebody who's more of a center. 7'2", right? So taller than 6'10". 7'2", not the exact height, but very close to 7'2". Probably going to be a 7-footer. Age, 22 or higher. Got to be older than 22 years old, but younger than 26. And the jersey number is going to be one that's above 10. Now, the first player that kind of comes to mind here that fits the criteria, a center, right? We've already named Wendell Carter Jr. We know it's not him. Wendell's just a little bit too short. We've already mentioned Paolo Banchero. So who else is left that plays center for the Orlando Magic? Well, you got Mo Wagner, older brother of Franz Wagner, but I don't think Mo Wagner is a 7-footer. I think he's tall, but I don't think he's quite in the 7-foot league. Let's check the silhouette because I think I know who this is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy's got his own song by Sheck West, right? And I think you guys know how that song goes. And I think I know who this is. M.O. It's Mohamed Bamba. Mo Bamba, that's right. Boom. It is Mo Bamba. He is no longer wearing number 5. He relinquished jersey number 5 to Paolo Banchero. Mo Bamba's rocking number 11 this season. And it is Mo Bamba. Orlando Magic, Eastern Conference, Southeastern. He is a center. He is exactly 7 feet tall, 24 years old, and he's rocking jersey number 11. Agaho. That's right, Chev. You know. It's Mo Bamba. All right, shout out to everybody who helped me get there on Poeltl. Let's talk about today's NBA slate. Guys, run those subs up. Run those likes up. I appreciate Judy Martina for subscribing to the channel. I'm Day also subscribed to the channel. Appreciate you new subscribers. Thank you so much for being here. All right, NBA slate tonight. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So we got a true medium-sized NBA slate. Starting things off at 7 p.m. Toronto at Detroit. Nice little total here. 221.5 points. 5.5-point spread. Keep an eye on some injury news. Pascal Siakam continues to sit for the Toronto Raptors. Precious Achiuwa also out. We're also going to be without Gary Trent Jr. and Fred VanVleet. So who does that leave? Well, it leaves OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes pretty much to hold down the fort for the Toronto Raptors tonight. Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby. You got Thaddeus Young. You got Delano Banton. And you got Koloko holding down the center spot. So this should be a very interesting game. What's going to happen without Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., and Pascal Siakam? You would imagine that Scotty Barnes, last year's Rookie of the Year, he won Rookie of the Year, right? Pretty sure he won Rookie of the Year. Cade didn't win it. I think Scotty Barnes won it, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he's going to have to shoulder the load. Him and OG Anunoby could be in a great spot to go off against the Detroit Pistons. For the Pistons, Corey Joseph, game time decision. Cade Cunningham is out. Cade's been out for the last couple of games. But I will caution you. Be careful with this Detroit Pistons team. Why do I say be careful? Well, obviously Jaden Ivey's there. He's going to get a lot of usage. But Killian Hayes is going to be starting. And if Corey Joseph is in, that makes things a little bit more cloudy in that backcourt. Also worth noting, Alec Burks has returned. He has made his debut for the Detroit Pistons in the last game. So now Alec Burks is in the rotation. How's that going to shake things up? Not only that, but then in the center and power forward roles, you got a number of different guys there. Obviously, you got Isaiah Stewart. They start Bogdanovich, but coming off the bench, you now got Marvin Bagley III, who's now in the rotation. He started, or didn't start, but he played minutes in his last game. Made his debut, finally saw some minutes off the bench for Detroit. So you got Marvin Bagley to worry about. You've got fellow rookie Jalen Duren to worry about. So I'm going to stay away from the Detroit Pistons tonight. I don't mind you taking some Raptors here, but I don't know if I like this situation with the Pistons. A lot of question marks there. Speaking of question marks, we got the Charlotte Hornets at the Orlando Magic. Why do I say speaking of question marks? Because we're not sure if Paolo Banchero, this year's #1 overall pick, will play tonight. He has sat out the last couple of games. And on top of that, further confusing matters, we got Gary Harris, who is set to make his season debut for the Orlando Magic. If you guys remember, Gary Harris did play quite a few minutes last season for the Orlando Magic. So Orlando's been one of those teams early on this season that's just really hard to figure out from game to game who's going to do what. You got Wendell Carter Jr. and Bol Banchero all fighting for rebounds, right? You got different guys who are stepping up in the scoring department from game to game. It could be Jalen Suggs one game, Franz Wagner the next. Then you might have Banchero, Bol or Wendell Carter Jr. who could go for 20 or 30 a night, right? One of those teams that I'm staying away from. I love watching them as an Orlando Magic fan, but as far as figuring out who's going to do what on a given night, I would look elsewhere. But on the other side, we saw LaMelo Ball make his season debut in the last game, so it looks like LaMelo Ball is going to play again tonight. I don't think he got quite 30 minutes of run in the last game, but you'll start to see his minutes get ramped up. They're going to be shorthanded. No Gordon Hayward or Martin tonight. Dennis Smith Jr. is a game time decision as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But 224 points and a 1.5 point spread. Guys, if you find any type of edge or lean here, I would say run with it. I do have one pick that I would like to discuss from this game. It's not going to be from the Orlando side. I can promise you that. 7:30 tip-off between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics. Darius Bazley, game time decision. Trey Mann, game time decision. SGA, how good has SGA been this season? I mean, he's doing some crazy stuff out there. 30 plus points in like how many of his last however many games he played. I mean, he's just been off the charts good. Off the charts good. But tonight, it looks like they're going to get beat down by the Boston Celtics. 228.5 points on this game, but a 12-point spread. It favors Boston. So will SGA be playing in the fourth quarter if this game turns into a blowout in the first three quarters? I don't know. Makes me a little scared to take too many overs in a blowout situation like we are expected to see here. For Boston, the main piece of injury news, Malcolm Brogdon is out. So you're going to see more minutes for guys like Derek White off the bench, right? Maybe Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, kind of hold down those guard positions. 7:30, we got the Phoenix Suns facing the Miami Heat. Chris Paul is a game time decision. He did not play in the last couple of games, I think. Last couple. We'll see if he plays tonight against a tough Miami Heat squad. This game has a very low total, gang. Be careful taking too many overs in this game. Low total at 215 means there's going to be a slower pace game. It's going to be a slower pace game. And when it's slower pace, that means fewer possessions. Fewer possessions mean less shots going up. Less shots going up means less points, rebounds, assists, and so forth. So don't go too crazy taking overs in this game. Pick your spots. Choose wisely. Over on the Miami Heat side, Tyler Herro is a game time decision, as is Dwayne Dedmon. But very low scoring game, but it looks like it's going to be a competitive low scoring game. A little higher scoring game here, tip-off between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Houston Rockets. These two teams just met each other not that long ago. We got 220 on the board between these two ball clubs, 5.5-point spread for the Clippers. No Kawhi Leonard, no John Wall. So we will not see the John Wall revenge game against the Houston Rockets. He will not play tonight. Do like a couple picks from this game. Over on the Houston side, Jalen Green is the big one to keep an eye out on. He is probably closer to a probable than a doubtful or questionable. I think Jalen Green ends up playing tonight. No Jayshawn Tate or Bruno Fernando. 8 p.m. tip-off. This game is littered with injury news, especially on the Milwaukee side. Nice total, 225.5. It's a 4-point spread. On the Milwaukee side, Grayson Allen, game time decision. Pat Connaughton, game time decision. Chris Middleton, a game time decision. They've got him listed as a very likely to play tonight, so we might end up seeing the debut of Chris Middleton. Giannis Antetokounmpo, his status is kind of up in the air. We're not sure if we're going to see the Greek Freak, and it looks like Drew Holiday's going to be out, which means Javon Carter's going to continue to hold down the point guard spot for the Milwaukee Bucks. But yes, be careful with that. With Chris Middleton coming back in, with Giannis' status up in the air, you don't want to click too many overs or unders too early, too soon, because things could definitely change. And then finally, the last game of the night, the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are on a back-to-back. They played Sacramento last night. They're taking on a young, spry San Antonio Spurs team. For the Spurs, nothing real crazy going on as far as injury news goes, but a huge total in this game. 233.5, 7.5-point spreads favoring the Warriors. Warriors coming out of the gates a little slow, 5-8. Can you believe that San Antonio actually has a better record than the Golden State Warriors? Say it ain't so. My goodness. All right, let's talk about some prize picks plays. Appreciate everybody being here. You guys are saying, yeah, Scotty won Rookie of the Year. Yes, he did. I was pretty certain he had beat out Cade Cunningham. Appreciate you guys definitely mentioning that. Q6 is liking some Jimmy Butler for over 6 assists. Yeah, he's been definitely getting it done. Let's see what prize picks plays I've got lined up today. All right, we're going to talk about a few of these. These are by no means considered locks. All right, there's no such thing as locks. These are just some ones that kind of stood out to me as maybe interesting looks here. The first one I want to talk about is Clint, the big fella Capela. He's at 11.5 rebounds, gang. And how could you not like Clint Capela's rebounds when you kind of crack open these game logs, see how well Clint Capela has been rebounding the basketball? It looks pretty good. He's averaging 17 rebounds per game in his last 5 games. He needs 12 for us to hit the over tonight. So let's dive into some research here. We're going to be using props.cash. Let's refresh props.cash. Make sure we have all the latest and greatest information. Guys, if you don't use props.cash for your player prop research, you're doing things the hard way. Prize picks. Prize picks plays. Very easy to research here on props.cash. It's just $20 a month. Your first month, 25% off when you use code Curry. Link down in the description. Go get signed up for props.cash. Do yourself a big old fat favor. All right. Let's see here. What do we have cooking for today? Well, we got Clint Capela. I like his rebounds going up against the Milwaukee Bucks. You take a look at some of these trends here for Clint Capela. You could even filter these out by games using props.cash. So Atlanta versus Milwaukee. You got Clint Capela, 38% hit rate at 11.5. But you see that the matchup looks pretty good here going up against the Bucks. They rank 22nd in rebounds allowed. Total rebounds allowed for Clint Capela looks pretty good. So let's pull up his game logs real quick. We'll go Clint Capela rebounds game logs this season. And we'll just kind of show you what Clint Capela's been up to, right? Especially the last few games have been very good. 15 boards, 20, 19, 12, and 19. So he's got a 5-game streak going. He's 5 for his last 5 as far as rebounds go. Now, one of those games were against the Milwaukee Bucks. He played 22 minutes, and in just 22 minutes, he was able to haul in 12 rebounds against Milwaukee. All right, so he did clear this in a recent matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, going back a little bit further here, he played 29 minutes against the Bucks on October 29th, ended up pulling in 10 rebounds. So he did fall short of the 11.5 number, but we've seen his minutes go up in the last few games. We've seen him pull in more rebounds in the last few games. So I think Clint Capela's in a really good spot, especially if Giannis sits. If Giannis is out tonight, let's say they start Chris Middleton, they give Giannis the night off, give Chris Middleton kind of a tune-up game. I don't think Clint Capela is going to struggle against Brook Lopez. In fact, we could take a look at that. We could go Clint Capela's rebounds versus Brook Lopez logs. So this is one way you can kind of utilize StatMuse. So we need at least 12 boards from Capela. He's gone over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of his last, 9? That's a pretty darn good hit rate. Since joining the Atlanta Hawks, going up against Brook Lopez as a Milwaukee Buck, he's gone over in 3 out of 4 games against Lopez. 12, 14, and 16. So 3 for 4 with Capela on the Hawks, with Lopez on the Bucks. So he's in a good spot. We've seen him yank down 15 and 20 boards against Joel Embiid. Are you telling me he can't get it done against Brook Lopez? He had 19 boards against Joval. Again, you're telling me he can't get it done against Brook Lopez, somebody who's underperformed as a rebounder throughout his entire career? Come on. Let's take a look at the DVP here. This is defense versus position. This will let you know how many rebounds per game that a team is giving up to a specific position. So in this case, we're looking for the Milwaukee Bucks against opposing centers. They're giving up nearly 16 boards per game, 15.8. So you see where they rank, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th most. That's the 7th most rebounds allowed to opposing centers. So I think Clint Capela's in a pretty good spot to pull down some boards tonight, especially if Giannis is out. If Giannis is out, this is definitely a lock and load type of play for me. I'm putting this one in my entries. So if you want to wait for Giannis news, I don't blame you. Let's get you a projection though. We're going to take a look at the projections provided by Fantasy Labs and Action Labs, and this will give us a better idea if Capela's in a good spot or not. Should we be going over or under here? More or less? Well, he's projected for exactly 11.5 rebounds. He's at 11.5 on most sports books. 12.5 on PointsBet, though. They do have him 1 rebound higher, so when you compare the PrizePicks line versus PointsBet, you are getting a little bit of value here. At 11.5, we're seeing him as a slight betting favorite to go under, which is kind of surprising to me. I think the line will flip if Giannis is ruled out. I think it will go from being a slight betting favorite under to a slight betting favorite over if Giannis is out. So if you want to wait and see on this one, I can't blame you. But Capela's been rebounding at a very nice clip recently. Milwaukee could be shorthanded in their front court. He's done well historically against Brook Lopez in the Milwaukee Bucks. 3 out of his last 4 as a member of the Hawks, with Lopez as a member of the Bucks. So there's a lot of good things going here for Clint Capela. Matchup looks right. So for right now, we'll tentatively set Clint Capela as a more than 11.5 rebound play. Do you guys agree or disagree with this? Agree or disagree with Clint Capela at 11.5 rebounds? Do you think he goes for more or less? Let me know in the chat. I like to get your feedback. I like to hear what you folks are thinking. Now, this is another play from this game that if Giannis is in, I like it for the under or for less. And that's John Collins at 11.5 points. So let's take a look at John Collins here. Let me refresh props.cash. Let's see if we could get these lines generated. Seems like they might. There we go. We're back in business here. Let's go pull up John Collins real quick and take a look at what he's done this season. Now, he's at 11.5 points. To start the season, he was up there at 13.5, 14.5 points. But we've kind of started to see his points prop start to dip a little bit. But even at 11.5, I'm still thinking that maybe we go under here if Giannis plays. Because I don't like this matchup for John Collins with Giannis Antetokounmpo in the lineup. I think it becomes a much more difficult matchup for John Collins. So you kind of see what he's done here. He's 7 for 13, just a 54% hit rate. We've seen his usage go way down since they acquired DeJounte Murray. So when DeJounte and Trae Young are in the lineup, John Collins really doesn't eat. He doesn't eat very well. Going up against the Milwaukee Bucks this season, he's played them twice. In those games, he had 4 points. In this other game, he had 14 points. You want to know what the difference is here? I'll tell you what the difference is. This game, October 29th, when he had 4 points, Trae Young was active and in the lineup, as was DeJounte Murray. In this game from November 7th, Trae Young was out. which means more usage for a guy like John Collins. Trae Young is expected to play tonight, so they should have their full complement, their normal starting lineup: Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Hunter, Collins, and Capela, right? So if they have their normal starting five and Giannis is playing on the other side, I kind of like John Collins to go for less than 11.5 points. I think he's going to have a very difficult matchup. Guys, you see where the Milwaukee Bucks rank in all of the statistics. It's a lot of red. It's not a great matchup for John Collins and the Atlanta Hawks. The Milwaukee Bucks are a very tough team defensively. We don't really need to talk too much about that. We just know Milwaukee's a good team. You take a look at the minutes here. Collins played 31.4 in the first matchup against Milwaukee. Despite playing more minutes than he did in the second matchup, he still stayed under 11.5 points. He played just 23.5 minutes without Trae Young, but did manage to go for 14 points in that game. So again, this is only a play for me if Giannis is in for Milwaukee, because I don't like the matchup for John Collins in that case. We could also use StatMuse to take a look at some historical information here. John Collins points versus Giannis logs. And you can kind of get an idea of what he's done against Giannis in their more recent matchups. I don't want to go back too far here, but as we mentioned, this 14 points was a game where Trae Young did not play. So he was out of the lineup. So DeJounte Murray, John Collins got more usage. But you could see what happened when Trae Young was in, only 4 points in that previous game. And then we go back to last season, toward the end of last season, he only had 2 points, played just 19 minutes, but just 2 points against Giannis in that one. So I think the matchup is just really bad for John Collins. All of these other games, guys, these were from like last season or previous seasons before they got DeJounte Murray. That's the key difference here. DeJounte being in the lineup, Trae Young being in the lineup. They are unquestionably the top 2 usage guys for the Atlanta Hawks. If we go take a look at this here, we look at regular season. This is usage information that you can find out on NBA.com. We click Get Stats and we take a look at the usage. Trae Young sitting very pretty here at 33.5% usage. AJ Griffin, we'll throw him out. Tyrese Martin, we'll throw him out. Second in line would be DeJounte Murray with 22.9% usage. So they are definitely getting the lion's share of the usage. The lion's share of the usage. All right. So that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. And then taking a look at the matchup here, John Collins being the power forward for the Atlanta Hawks, we can go and see how many points per game that the Milwaukee Bucks are giving up to opposing power forwards this season. They rank number 1 as far as limiting power forwards in the points department, giving up just 18.3. That is the fewest points allowed to the power forward position by any team. So again, this is all hinging on if Giannis is in or not. His status currently up in the air. Let's get you a projection. Talking point projections provided by Fantasy Labs and Action Labs. John Collins projected for 11 points. 11 points, less than 11.5. So good projection if we're thinking about taking the under. As far as where he's at on these different books, he's at 11.5 on DraftKings, 11.5 on FanDuel. Just a slight betting favorite right now to go over. Again, if Giannis is in, I don't like John Collins' chances of scoring more. So for right now, we'll mark him as a less than 11.5 points. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. You guys are saying Capela. You're liking Capela for more than 11.5 rebounds. Like that. Yeah, especially if Giannis is out, it gets even better for Capela. Beetle Bump God says Lopez is going to stretch him on the floor, so he's not going to be in the paint like that. Now, I hear you. Maybe they put John Collins on Brook Lopez and then Capela's matched up with somebody else. But I did show you guys, we did talk about sort of the historical numbers, the success that Capela's had against Brook Lopez. Hawks versus Bucks, right? 4 games. He has hit the over in 3 out of 4. A low of 10, a high of 16 in those 4 games. So I understand your concerns. I do understand your concerns, but I'm just saying he has gotten it done in 75% of the games that he's played against Brook Lopez when these teams meet. All right? Just throwing it out there. Let's talk one more full game prop, and then we'll talk about a first half only prop. Paul George at 26.5 points. A lot of folks were under Paul George's various props in the last game against the Brooklyn Nets. And it ended up being a good move. He only had 17 points against the Brooklyn Nets. He went under his PRA. He went under on damn near everything. So going under on Paul George in the last game was the move. But listen, Paul George isn't going to stay down at 17 points forever. I think we're getting a little bit of a value play here, a little bit of a discount at 26.5. Let's take a look at PG-13 going up against the Houston Rockets. We know the Houston Rockets are not a great defensive team, right? They're very young. They're more interested in running and gunning than they are playing defense. So let's take a look at Paul George at 26.5 points. Started off kind of slow, right? You look at his first 5 games to start this season out, he only went for more than 26.5 points in 1 out of 5 games. But ever since then, things have turned around for Paul George. In his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, he's gone for more than 26.5 points in 5 out of 7 games. And in one of those games, 2 of those games, he played the Houston Rockets. So let's look at those game logs against the Rockets. He played Houston on Halloween. 10-31, dropped 35 points on the Houston Rockets. He came back and played them on November 2nd, a couple of days later, dropped 28 points against the Houston Rockets. So he's played them twice this season, went over 26.5 in both games, averaging 31.5 points versus Houston. I think this is a good bounce back spot for my man PG-13 here. Do we have any game logs from last season against Houston? We don't. So we have 2 game logs from this season, which are, the more relevant data, we'll say, more relevant data. We go down here and we take a look at the Houston defense. We're going to see a lot of green and a lot of yellow. Green is great. Yellow's okay. We don't want to see any red. And in this case, we're not seeing any red, meaning Houston's pretty bad defensively. They give up a lot of points. They give up a very high field goal percentage. All right. 3-pointers allowed, they rank pretty high in that. 3-point percentage allowed, they rank pretty high in that. Free throws allowed, they rank high in that. And they're 23rd against small forwards. So there's only 7 teams that are worse at defending small forwards than the Houston Rockets. This game has a pretty nice total at 220. All right. 5.5 point spread. Hopefully it stays close and competitive. If it does turn into a blowout, it's going to hopefully be because Paul George is making buckets. Yes, 2 for 2 against Houston, coming off of a bad game against the Brooklyn Nets. He typically doesn't have too many bad games in a row, right? 17 points. This just looks like a nice little bounce back spot here. Let's go take a look at the DVP situation. We're going to look at both shooting guards and small forwards versus the Houston Rockets. See how many points they give up per game. Versus both positions. So finding Houston here, about 23.5 points per game given up to shooting guards. You see where that puts them, like right around the top 10 most points allowed per game to shooting guards. Now you factor in that Paul George is one of the best shooting guards / small forwards in the entire NBA, and I think we're in a pretty good spot here. Take a look at the small forward position as well. The Houston Rockets giving up about 22 per game. It puts them like right in the middle of the pack in terms of league average, right? Just kind of an average team against small forwards, but still 22 points per game. This guy needs 27. You factor in the talent level of Paul George, and you're probably in a pretty good spot, pretty good matchup here versus Houston. So I like the way things are shaping up here for PG-13. You guys let me know if you're liking it as well. Let's get you a projection. Paul George projected for 25.7 points. He is at 26.5 points on most books, so we're not really seeing any type of value, meaning we're not seeing him at like 27.5 on any of these sports books. He's 26.5 on PrizePicks, 26.5 wherever you can go and take this prop. But at 26.5, I think that's just a touch too low. I think 27.5 would probably be the more appropriate number here. Are you guys thinking that Paul George is in a good spot for 26.5 points? Let me know. Douglas says, what's up, CJ? Long time no talk. What do you think about Horford over points? We'll get to your questions in just a little bit. Hang tight for me. Somebody is asking, though, Denham, shout out to Denham Banks for bringing up this question. He says, what about Paul George for PRA? Is that a better play, worse play than the points? Well, I think Paul George is a very scoring-dependent type of player. If he's going to hit his PRA, he's more than likely going to have to get some buckets, right? But let's just take a look to humor you. I think you bring up a fair point. Is Paul George's PRA maybe the better option? His PRA is at 37.5, all right? Let's see if he's got the same hit rates as he does with the points going up against the Houston Rockets. He's played Houston, as we mentioned, twice this season. Going up against Houston at 37.5 PRA, well, he's 1 for 2, all right? He had that huge game against Houston, 52 PRA. He would have fallen just short at 37 PRA in his rematch against the Houston Rockets. So for me, I'm going to have to say I have to favor the points. It's got the 100% hit rate where this has the 50% hit rate. All right. But one unique thing about PrizePicks is they allow us to play fantasy score. Let's see if they have a Paul George fantasy score option up on the board yet. Looking. He is at 45.5 fantasy score. He can get some steals. He can get some blocks. He's a pretty good two-way player, one of the best two-way players in the league. Let's use StatMuse to pull this up. We're going to go Paul George, FanDuel points, because FanDuel point scoring is the same as PrizePicks point scoring when it comes to fantasy scores. Keep that in mind if you're looking at projections and stuff. So Paul George FanDuel points versus Rockets logs. So he's got those two games against the Houston Rockets this season, 38.3 fantasy score in that one, 78.8 fantasy score in the first matchup. So he is also 1 for 2 on fantasy score. So 1 for 2 on PRA, 1 for 2 on the fantasy score, but again, 2 for 2, 100% on the points. So that's why I think I'm going to stick with the points. Now, you do what's best for you. But for right now, I got to go PG for more than 26.5 points. All right, so let's finish this up here, and then we'll take some of your questions with a guy who has been pretty good here historically at 10.5 first half only points. And I'm talking about Terry Rozier. Now for first half only, we're going to have to use StatMuse to pull up his game log. So let's do that now. Terry Rozier, first half points logs, and I'll include the words this season. So we take a look at what Terry Rozier's done in the first half this season. He needs 11 first half points going up against the Orlando Magic. He's gone over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7 games. 5 out of 7, not a very bad hit rate. I'm happy with 5 out of 7. That means more often than not, he is going over 10.5 points. The games that he missed, 8 and 10, close but no cigar, as they like to say. Let's take a look and see maybe what caused that. It wasn't due to a lack of minutes. He played 17 minutes in both of the games where he fell short. Had pretty good matchups on paper too against Washington and Portland, right? Against Washington and Portland. Took plenty of shots, 5 for 11, not the greatest shooting percentage at 45.5%. 3 for 7, shots were down in that game. In fact, that was the fewest amount of first half shots that he's taken in any of the games in which he's appeared this season. So we want him to shoot, the ball more. 10 or more times would be ideal for Terry Rozier. He was 0 for 3 beyond the arc against Washington, 2 for 5 against Portland. All right, so he didn't make a single three. He's going to need to make some threes for us to get there. But overall, 5 for 7, I think that looks pretty healthy. Now, he's taking on Orlando tonight. We talked about the Orlando Magic, young team. If you're going to attack Orlando anywhere, I think the backcourt is where you can kind of get them. Let's look at Terry Rozier's first half point logs versus the Magic and see what he's done against Orlando as a member of the Charlotte Hornets. All right, so he hit in the last meeting, which was last season, April 7th. So 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3. Came really close here, so we'll call it 3 for 4. And then 11 points against Orlando. So that's his last 5 games, 4 for 5, 80% hit rate. Are you guys mad at an 80% hit rate? I'm not. All right, we go back even further here. He's 6 for 8. 6 for his last 8, 6 for his last 9, we'll call it, since joining the Charlotte Hornets, playing against the Orlando Magic. So he's got a pretty good history against Orlando, going over 10.5 first half points. Here's where things get sweet. LaMelo Ball's back in the lineup, and I'd like LaMelo Ball as far as like a setup guy. He's a pass first type of point guard. He's setting his teammates up, right? Setting the table for them to get easy buckets. Now you also factor in, he's going up against Orlando. Orlando is giving up 28 points per game. That's the second most points per game to point guards in the league. Now, Terry Rozier, point guard, shooting guard, he's a combo guard, kind of a tweener, right? But that looks really good, giving up over 28 points to point guards. What about shooting guards? Orlando giving up about 22 to 23 points per game to shooting guards. Now, you can kind of see where that ranks. That puts them down toward the bottom, but I'm not mad at that. We know that LaMelo Ball, more of a pass-first guy than a score-first guy. He's still trying to kind of find his shot, get his bearings. He's only played 1 game this season. So I like Terry Rozier here. I think he's going to get the lion's share of those backcourt points that the Orlando Magic allow. What do you guys think? 10.5 points. He needs at least 11 against Orlando. Orlando giving up 22 to shooting guards, giving up 28 to point guards. So you combine those, they're giving up about 50 points per game. 50 points per game to backcourts, we'll call it. Point guard, shooting guards. So I think it looks pretty good. You guys let me know, though. Don't have any first half projections for Terry Rozier. No projections available. But for me, he is a more option. I know Tony Ruiz is liking some Terry Rozier for over 10.5 points. That was a guy that we kind of hung our hat on. We played a lot of first half points on Terry Rozier last season. Caught in 4K says, what about LaMelo Ball and Kelly Oubre? Are you saying what about their first half points? Or are you saying what about taking their props? There are no LaMelo Ball props up on the board yet. You got Oubre, you got Rozier, you got PJ, you got Mason. But no, I don't think there's any LaMelo props just yet. I think LaMelo helps. More than anything. Justin's asking, do I work for PrizePicks? No, this is my YouTube channel. This is my content. I am a partner sponsored by PrizePicks. I guess you could say that. So no, I don't work for them. I actually make a living by helping you folks try to win and beat PrizePicks. Isn't that awesome? That's what I do. That's what I do in Patreon, Discord, here on YouTube. It's all about me trying to help you guys beat PrizePicks. So it's quite the opposite. But yeah, let's take some of your questions. So far, what we've got, though, is Clint Capela over 11.5 rebounds. Like I said, you can lock this in now, but I like it even better if Giannis sits. So if you want to wait for Giannis news, be my guest. John Collins for less than 11.5 points. That one's definitely going to hinge on Giannis being in or out of the lineup. If Giannis is in, I like the under on John Collins. Terry Rozier over 10.5 first half points. And we talked about Paul George for more than 26.5 points. Those are 4 to keep an eye out on. Really just wait and see on the Atlanta-Milwaukee game before you lock anything in. So let's get to some of your questions. Joseph Thomas says, get that Patreon. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, it's just $20 a month. You win one $10 two-pick power and you net $20 in profit and Patreon's paid for. All right, then you're free rolling for the rest of the month. $20, very affordable. I've made it a price point where everybody and anybody can get in. All right, but only do it if you can afford it. That's what I'm going to say. Don't do it because you think you're going to get rich or that I have all the secrets to obtaining wealth through PrizePicks. No, that's not the case. I would not be here right now if I knew how to win every single day, had all the answers. I would not be here. I'd be on a yacht somewhere. PrizePicks would be out of business. I would be on my own private yacht and island if I had all the answers to success. We're doing our best, though, as a community to try and find those winning picks day in and day out. So, yeah. Hit me with some of your questions. I'll be happy to kind of take a look at those for the next 10, 15 minutes or so. You guys are saying check out Kelly Oubre's first half points. All right, let's look at him. He's at 10.5. I know you guys are going to open this up and get enamored with all the green, right? The green looks good, but let's take a look here at Kelly Oubre first half point logs with LaMelo Ball. All right, we'll see how he does with LaMelo Ball. Maybe it goes down. Oh, yeah, it does go down a lot. It goes down a lot. So he's at 10.5, right? 10.5 with LaMelo Ball. You're seeing some of these game logs here. Now, obviously, a lot of these are going to be from last season. He did play one game 2 days ago with LaMelo. Still ended up with 15 first half points in 16 first half minutes. So he's 1 for 1 this season with LaMelo Ball. But looking back at last season, you're going to see a lot of games where he just fell flat, fell short. Important to note, Gordon Hayward's going to be out tonight. So with Gordon Hayward out, obviously Kelly Oubre, PJ Washington, Terry Rozier, those guys are going to see more shots, more usage, more minutes. All right. So he is 1 for 1 this season with LaMelo Ball, dropping 15 points on the heads of the Miami Heatians. All right. So I don't hate that. I wish we had a bigger sample size, but such is life. We can't have what we want. I think Terry Rozier is going to probably be the higher usage guy, though, versus Kelly Oubre. In fact, we can take a look at that. We can change this from all season segments to last game, and then we could switch this from the Atlanta Hawks to the Charlotte Hornets. And then we could go ahead and click Get Stats. So this is from the last game. LaMelo played, Oubre played, Rozier played, Washington played, everybody played except for Mason Plumlee and our guy, Miles Bridges. I don't know what's going on with Miles Bridges. Is he gone? Is he officially out of the league, off of the Charlotte Hornets, or is he suspended right now? I know he got into some domestic violence stuff, but yeah, where's Miles Bridges been? Is he serving a suspension? Anyway, your top 2 usage players, Kelly Oubre and Terry Rozier. Now, where is LaMelo Ball on this list? I don't even see him. I don't even know if they took him into consideration. Why is LaMelo Ball not on here? NBA.com. Where is he? I know he played in the last game. Interesting. So when I click all games or all season segments, he comes up. So he had a 31.7% usage rating. But for some reason, when you look at just the last game here and you click get stats, LaMelo Ball is not on the list. All right, so LaMelo was number 1 in usage. Oubre was second. Terry Rozier was third. Those are your top 3 usage players for the Charlotte Hornets. Just a 1-game sample size. No Gordon Hayward. Make of that what you will. But yeah, you could go with Oubre if you prefer Oubre over Rozier. I don't blame you. I think maybe Rozier's got the better matchup being a guard, where Oubre is kind of a small forward going up against Orlando. He'll probably be matched up against like Franz Wagner. Maybe Banchero if Banchero plays. Maybe Big Bobo is going to be on him. 7'2", freaky long Bobo might be guarding Kelly Oubre out there. But Orlando has given up just the 4th fewest points per game to small forwards, which is where Oubre would fit in, right? You got Ball, Rozier, Oubre at the 3, PJ at the 4, and then Mason Plumlee at the 5. So Orlando giving up a lot fewer points to small forwards than they are point guards or shooting guards. So keep that in mind. I think I'm going to stay with Rozier. Let's see. Yep, no Miles Bridges. R.I.P. Miles Bridges. No, he's not dead. He's just not on the team anymore. AOD says, CJ, we love you, bro. I love you back, homie. Appreciate it. What else are you guys liking? Bojan PRA first half. No, I'm not touching. I'm not touching the Detroit Pistons tonight. I've already illustrated why, but I'll just quickly recap. So yeah, Cade Cunningham's going to be out, but they recently just got Alec Burks, Marvin Bagley III back, so I'm not interested in touching the Detroit Pistons tonight. You got Corey Joseph, who's a game time decision. Killian Hayes is in the lineup. You got, of course, Jaden Ivey still there. Sadiq Bey, Bogdanovich, Isaiah Stewart. I'm just not going to go there. I'm not touching the Detroit Pistons. Probably not touching the Orlando Magic either. It's just too much, man. Too much going on that side, the Detroit and Orlando side. I'm staying away from it. You do you, though. Shaz, if you're liking Bojan Bogdanovich for PRA first half, you do you. You take it. You take it. That's right, Grayson. Miles Bridges last season. Ripo says, we know Oubre doesn't like to pass the ball. You're right. He's a ball hog. Mike Offenbecker says, are we avoiding Kelly Oubre at 5 rebounds? Last 3 games, he went over 7. Am I avoiding him? No, probably not avoiding him, but I will make this point. You take a look at the Orlando Magic starting lineup, right? Who do you have in there? Well, you got 6'10" Franz Wagner, right? You got 7'2" Bobo, potentially 6'10" Paolo Banchero. You got 6'10" Wendell Carter Jr. You got a bunch of big boys over on that Orlando Magic side. You got Mason Plumlee to contend with on your own team. I'm just not sure if the rebound opportunities are going to be there for Kelly Oubre tonight. I'm worried about it. But yeah, looking at his rebounds, 8, 7, and 8 in his last 3 games, he's been blowing the brakes off of the 5 rebound number. I'll get you a projection. Maybe that'll help you out with your Kelly Oubre rebound props. 4.7 is the projection. He's at 4.5 on most books, being bet over at 4.5. But yes, a lot of big boys, a lot of tall fellas over on that Orlando Magic squad. All right. 704 God. Thank you for the super chat. He's asking about Jimmy Butler. Under on points for Jimmy Butler. What do I think about that? Well, I think you should wait on Tyler Herro. I wouldn't go there unless Tyler Herro's out. Sorry, you're wanting to go under. I wouldn't take the under on Jimmy Butler unless Tyler Herro was in. I'd feel better about taking the under with Herro in. Herro gets a lot of usage. We've seen him get a lot of buckets. But you're wanting to take Jimmy Butler under 23.5 points. Now, if Herro's out, I cannot, in good faith, take the under on Jimmy Butler. But it is a low-scoring game against Phoenix. If Chris Paul's active on the other side, overall defensively, I think they get better. So there's an argument that can be made. Really low-scoring game, 215-point total. But I don't feel great about taking the under on Jimmy Butler unless Tyler Herro's in tonight. And so far, we don't really have any definitive Tyler Herro news, right? We're waiting on Tyler Herro news. He's truly sort of a coin flip. It says his estimated return is tonight. He's considered questionable for Monday night's contest against the Phoenix Suns. Herro's been dealing with an ankle injury that has kept him sidelined for the last 3 games. 22-year-old is having a solid start to the year, averaging almost 20 points per game, over 6 rebounds, and over 2 assists per night. If he's unable to go, expect to see increased action from Gabe Vincent and Duncan Robinson. So I'd wait on the Tyler Herro news before you take any unders on Jimmy Butler. But yes, it is a low-scoring game. Phoenix is a good defensive team, so maybe you go there with Jimmy buckets. And what I mean by go there, I mean take the under on his points if Tyler Herro ends up suiting up tonight. Butler's projected points right now are 21.2. He is at 23.5. Only one site, one book that I can find him on is DraftKings. Slight betting favorite to go under at 23.5. But yeah, be careful with that one. I'd probably say wait and see. Take the wait and see approach on that one. 704 God. Appreciate the super chat. Thanks for supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Everyday Fantasy says if you cannot win with us in Patreon, you just can't win. Period. On God. That's true. That's true. Don P spitting facts out here. Yeah, if you can't somehow win $20 in the course of an entire month to cover your $20 Patreon fee, membership, whatever you want to call it, something's wrong, man. Something's wrong. You either lack discipline, bankroll management. There's something going on if you can't win at least $20 to cover Patreon, right? I'm just throwing it out there. Let's see here. Google Beverly Hills with the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much for supporting free content here on YouTube, for supporting the show. Appreciate you. What do you think about Jeremy Sochan at 8.5 points? Is Jeremy Sochan up on the board on PrizePicks? Let me look at that. Jeremy Sochan is up. You know, it's a shame we don't have Jeremy Sochan's profile picture, his portrait up here, because my man's got that Dennis Rodman, snow cone color hair. You know what I mean? Jeremy Sochan, 8.5 points. What do I think about it? Over or under? More or less? Whew. Over or under, more or less on Jeremy Sochan? Well, the last 2 games he's gone over. 13 against Memphis, 10 against Milwaukee. He's coming off of, three days rest? He should be well rested. Young fella, right? Typically not the primary option for San Antonio. That would be Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. But Jeremy Sochan has done a pretty good job this season. Let's look at his game logs, a larger sample of his game logs if we can here. Is he up on props.cash? If not, we will have to use StatMuse. Let's refresh. Maybe props.cash has added him. Maybe they've added him. Let's pull him up here. Boom. There he is. Jeremy Sochan. All right, so he's gone over in 5 out of 12 games. That's a 42% hit rate, which doesn't look sexy on paper. Doesn't look sexy on paper, got to be honest. Got to keep it real. All right. Now, the matchup looks pretty good against Golden State. They have not been good defensively this season. A lot of green, a lot of yellow. So the matchup's looking good here. So what's happening with Jeremy Sochan, man? Why hasn't he hit in some of these games? Well, some of it has to do with minutes. Just 10 minutes against Philly. Just about 10 minutes against Toronto. All right. So that's not going to get you any overs. You're not going to hit very many overs on a player like that. 4-4 to start the season. 6-5-2. Yeah, it's the minutes for me, man, as they say. It's the minutes for me. Minutes have kind of been all over the place. You cannot get any stats. You can't score. You can't rebound. You can't block shots, steals, get assists if you're not out on the floor. So we need this guy to play a healthy amount of minutes. Now, I will say this. The last couple of games in which he has hit his points prop, he's played around 30 minutes. So that's what we need out of him. Around 30 minutes or more tonight. We can't have any of this 10-minute stuff, this 20-minute stuff. 23-minute stuff. Like, we can't have that. We need him to play about 30 minutes tonight. When he's out there, he's not, again, getting the lion's share of the field goal attempts. He's been getting around 7 to 8 per game, Jeremy Sochan. Doesn't take a lot of threes, maybe a couple per game. If he's feeling froggy, 4, maybe 6, right? And doesn't get to the free throw line a whole lot. A couple of attempts per game, every few games. He's not a consistent source of free throws. But I don't know how to feel about this. It's looking just too volatile for me right off the top, man. Just looking at these game logs, looking at what he's done when the minutes have been there. I mean, he's done well when the minutes are there, but are the minutes going to be there? That's the question. The last couple games, the minutes have been there. But will they continue to be there? I don't know. I don't know, man. Let's see if we got a projection on Jeremy Sochan's points. We don't. Let's refresh Fantasy Labs. Maybe they've added Sochan like props.cash did. All right, yeah, they got Jeremy Sochan up there. See, look at my man. He's got that rainbow color hair. I don't know if you can see his little portrait here on Fantasy Labs. But all right, Jeremy Sochan's at a projection of 7.5 points, which is less than 8.5. Now at 8.5 on DraftKings, minus 130 betting favorite to go under. What are you guys doing with Jeremy Sochan? I don't know if I'm touching him. I don't know if I'm gonna go there. I think I might fade it. I think I might just have to fade it. He is the power forward for the San Antonio Spurs. And when you go and take a look at how many points per game Golden State's allowing to power forwards, guys, no team allows more points to power forwards than the Golden State Warriors. Over 26 points per game. He needs 9. They give up 26. If he plays 30 plus minutes, I mean, okay, I guess he gets there. If you're twisting my arm, right? Maybe he gets there. I've got him projected to play, according to Fantasy Labs here, they got him projected to play about 29.9 minutes. We'll call it 30 minutes. So if he plays that many minutes in a game with a high total of 233.5 against a team that gives up a lot of points to the power forward position, despite the projections, despite the money coming in on the under, I guess you could take a shot on Jeremy Sochan. I wouldn't put my whole bankroll on it or anything, though. But if I had to pick, I guess I would choose him for more. Gun to head, had to make a choice. Maybe we choose him for more. Appreciate the sub, man. Thank you for being here. Richardson, Gene, appreciate that. Thanks for subbing. Nook Too Famous says, can you give us one more pick that you believe in? Well, I would like to, but truth of the matter is, the board's kind of right now. I'm waiting for some stuff to get added to the board. I'm waiting for some news to drop as well. I know one guy that's been kind of hitting his prop at a pretty high clip is Trey Jones with his assists. High scoring game, high total game against the Golden State Warriors. You could go Trey Jones for more than 7 assists. He's hit this in 4 straight games, 7 or better in 4 straight. I don't mind that. I think that's a pretty decent look. He's been pretty good at hitting those assists. Let's look at a projection. He's projected for 8.1. That's higher than 7. He's a minus 155 betting favorite to go over 6.5. So PrizePicks bumped him up to 7. But yeah, you could go Trey Jones, 7 or more assists in 4 straight games. I'm not mad at that. You can also take a look here on NBA.com for potential assists. So if you go to NBA.com, go to the potential assists, switch this up from all teams to just the San Antonio Spurs. Click Get Stats. You can see that Trey Jones is dominating the potential assists for his team at 14.2 per game. You could also take a look at the passes made. He's number 1 on the team in passes made. What's surprising to me is that Jakob Poeltl is actually 2nd on the team in passes made at 50.7. He's actually touching the ball a lot more than you see most centers touch the ball. But yeah, you could go there with Trey Jones, 14.2 potentials, averaging 6.6 assists per game, and then he's got over 55.2 passes made per game. Projected to go over with over 8 projected assists, and he's sitting at 7 on PrizePicks. So it could tie, it could push, but maybe that one's a solid look for you. Just another one that you could potentially take from a high-scoring game, high-total game. Fear Shaolin is asking, what about Mason Plumlee at 8.5 rebounds? Are we taking the over or the under? We'll look into Mason Plumlee. 704 God says, where do you like to get your news from, by the way? Well, if you're in my Discord, you'll see that I got a couple of different news feeds set up. One of the ones is from Underdog Fantasy. They do a really good job with keeping you up to date on the late breaking NBA news. The other one is RotoWire, which is where this site, if you go here, you can get some news from RotoWire, like latest news. Open up a new tab here, and then you can kind of get an idea who's in, who's out, right? You could even get news by, a specific team. There's, you could filter out the news if you want to. So RotoWire, fantastic when it comes to news, especially NBA, NFL news, the main sports, popular sports. But anyway, Fear Shaolin's asking about Mason Plumlee's rebounds at 8.5. Let's take a peek. Let me clear some of these picks off. Clint Capela over 11.5 rebounds. I'll just recap for those of you who are just getting here. Clint Capela over 11.5 rebounds. I like it, but I would love it if Giannis was out. All right. So we talked about that one. John Collins under or less than 11.5 points. Only if Giannis is in, because I think that's a tough matchup for John Collins. Terry Rozier for more than 10.5 first half points. Orlando gives up a lot of points to opposing point guards. LaMelo's back, setting the table for Terry Rozier. All right, no Gordon Hayward. I think Terry Rozier is going to be up there in terms of usage. Has the better matchup than Kelly Oubre does going up against the Orlando Magic tonight. Paul George for more than 26.5 points going up against the Houston Rockets. He's 2 for 2 this season covering this number. I like this Paul George prop probably better than anything else, PRA, fantasy score, etc. And then one of you guys mentioned Jeremy Sochan for more than 8.5 points in a great matchup against the Golden State Warriors. High total game, more than 233 points on the board. Sochan needs 9 points, but we need him to play at least 30 minutes, right around 30 minutes, all right? So we're kind of clearing the deck here to make room for Mason Plumlee's rebounds at 8.5, going up against the Orlando Magic. I will say this as a Magic fan watching our team last season and this season, one area where we kind of give it up is in the rebound department to opposing centers. We still haven't figured it out. Despite all the big bodies we have on our team, Wendell Carter Jr., 6'10", Paolo Banchero, 6'10", Franz Wagner, 6'10". We've got Big Bobo, who's getting minutes now, 7'2", right? Got a bunch of size, but for some reason, we still give up too many rebounds to opposing centers. So taking a look at that, Orlando doing a better job this season, but they're still giving up 14.1 rebounds per game to opposing centers. I wish they were like in the bottom 5, like Miami, Chicago, Toronto, Cleveland, or Dallas, but you can wish in one hand and in the other. See which one fills up first, right? But 14.1 rebounds per game, decent number. So you can see that they are at the bottom of the league when it comes to rebounds allowed to the center spot. So not the greatest matchup. If he was playing, Mason Plumlee was playing the Los Angeles Lakers, who are giving up 17.8, nearly 18 rebounds per game to centers, I'd like the over a lot more. But in this case, he's playing a tougher matchup here against the Orlando Magic. Let's go take a look here. Thank you for the super chat. Deeper dive at this. Charlotte versus Orlando. Click on Mason Plumlee's name here. You can kind of see what he's done as far as total rebounds over the course of the season. Played a total of 14 games so far, 7 for 14. He's 50%. He is a coin flip. We take a look at the last 10 games more specifically. Things get a lot more green. He is 7 for his last 10, 70% hit rate, averaging 9.6 rebounds per game in the last 10. And in the last 5, that number's gone up even higher to 10.6 rebounds per game. All right. He has played Orlando this season. Back on October 28th, only 4 rebounds against them. And in 4 games last season, he was 2 for 2, 50%. 2 and 2, not 2 for 2. 2 and 2. He went over 2 times, went under 2 times. So 50% hit rate. 7.6 rebounds per game in his last 5 games against the Magic. It's almost a whole rebound lower than where he's at 8.5. Technically, he needs 9 rebounds. He's averaging 7.6, so that's like a 1.4 rebound difference. Pretty significant difference. We take a slide down here and take a look at his minutes logs. He only played about 20 minutes in that first game this season against Orlando, so a lack of minutes definitely had an impact on him. The games where he's played 25 or more minutes against Orlando in the last 5 games against the Magic, he has hit the over on his rebounds. So it's all about minutes for Mason Plumlee. If he gets 25 or more minutes tonight, he should have plenty of rebound chances. Speaking of rebound chances, let's go look at those now. We'll clear the Detroit Pistons. Click advanced filters, go to all teams, go to Charlotte. Click get stats. And you can see that Mason is leading the Charlotte Hornets in rebound chances per game at 15.1. 15.1. It's kind of high. I'm sorry, the rebound chances are kind of low. I think his prop line's kind of high at 8.5. He'd have to go 9 for 15. He's averaging 8.8 rebounds per game. I wish his rebound chances were higher, I guess is what I'm trying to say. One thing that you can also do here is you can look at something like Mason Plumlee rebounds without Gordon Hayward logs, just to get an idea. Does he rebound better or worse without Gordon Hayward? Well, not a whole lot here. Let's see how many games we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games played this season without Gordon Hayward. He's racked up 1, 2, 3, 4 overs and 2 unders. So he's 4 for 6 this season. Games played without Gordon Hayward, covering 8.5 rebounds. All right. So that's worth noting. He played Orlando in 1 game last season without Gordon Hayward, had 6 rebounds in that game, so he fell short. So he did not cover in a game last year against Orlando without Gordon Hayward. You can also look at Mason Plumlee's rebounds with LaMelo Ball logs. And those rebounds don't look so hot, right? We look at the last few games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He is 0 for his last 9 in games played with LaMelo Ball. Take it for what you will. 0 for his last 9, covering 8.5 rebounds in games played with LaMelo Ball. Again, one of those games in there is against Orlando where he had just 6 rebounds against the Magic. So for whatever reason, just doesn't seem to rebound quite as well with LaMelo Ball in the lineup. Again, make of it what you will. What I will do, though, is get you a projection on his rebounds, and we can kind of look at that together. Mason Plumlee, projected for 8.2 boards. He is at 8.5 rebounds on pretty much every site. Yeah, every site has him at 8.5, just like he is on PrizePicks, by the way. He is a slight betting favorite, though, at 8.5. Minus 120 to go under, minus 125 to go under. Not a lot of confidence from the betting public that he's going to get 9 or more rebounds tonight. Okay? So if you wanted to take Mason Plumlee at 8.5 rebounds, I don't know that I feel so confident in taking the over. It just looks a little wishy-washy to me, man. So it's either a fade for me or maybe even an under, but I think I'm just going to fade it. Just going to fade it. Going to stay away from it, my friend. Thank you, though. Thank you for the super chat. Hopefully that helps you avoid a potential pitfall, right? That's why we do these super chats. That's why we break it down and dig into the stats. But I think with that one, we're gonna make that one the last one of the day, guys. We have been we've been on here for about an hour today. I think it's a good point to cut it off. We're gonna wait for some news. We're gonna see who's in and who's out tonight for the NBA. All right. We got Monday Night Football tonight as well on PrizePicks, guys. We got the Eagles and the Washington Commanders. Hopefully my Eagles stay undefeated. Good luck on all your picks tonight, guys. If you're in Patreon, in Discord, of course, we're going to be continuing this conversation, continuing the research all day long, sharing our findings, sharing our info, sharing our favorite picks and favorite entries on PrizePicks. So be a part of the conversation. Join Patreon, link down in the description below. Join the Discord, link down in the description below. Make sure you're subscribed, like, and leave a comment. When the replay goes up, you'll be automatically entered to win a free 2-pick that could score you $100 on PrizePicks. All right, we're going to be giving those out every single day. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you tuning in. And thank you once again for all the support. Good luck on your entries tonight.